Remember Marvel's helicarrier and that impossible floating battleship defying gravity and common sense? For decades, it lived only in the realm of blockbuster imagination. But somewhere in a Pentagon screening room, a few engineers must have stared at the screen and thought, what if we could actually do that? Fast forward to today, and that absurd fantasy isn't so far-fetched. Space Force isn't a punchline anymore, and memes about "make the galaxy great again" have turned into genuine budget requests. Around the world, governments and private companies are racing to fill the upper atmosphere with flying fortresses, drone motherships, and orbital platforms, all trying to control the sky above the sky. The age of the flying carrier has quietly begun, from airships to skyhooks. Long before Tony Stark's cinematic inventions, the US Navy actually built flying aircraft carriers. In the early 1930s, engineers launched two massive airships, the United States ship Akron and United States ship Macon, each more than 240 meters long. Hidden inside their helium-filled hulls were four Sparrowhawk biplanes that could be dropped mid-air using a trapeze system and caught again with a skyhook. It was a mechanical marvel until Mother Nature intervened. In 1933, the Akron crashed off the New Jersey coast during a storm, killing 73 men. The Macon met the same fate 2 years later. After that, the Navy quietly shelved the dream. The lesson was brutal and simple. The sky can lift your ambitions just as easily as it destroys them. Cold War dreams and nuclear wings. But ambition doesn't die, it just waits for better technology. By the 1960s, new materials, jet propulsion, and nuclear engines made engineers think the impossible might just be within reach. Lockheed's CL-1201 concept from that era looked like something out of science fiction. A nuclear-powered flying base with a wingspan of over 1,000 feet, capable of staying airborne for 40 days. It would host 22 fighter jets and a crew of 800, essentially an entire airfield that could cruise the stratosphere. The project never got beyond the blueprint stage, but it revealed how Cold War logic stretched physics and budgets to their breaking point. Boeing later tried a more practical route in 1973 with a 747 Airborne aircraft carrier proposal. Engineers envisioned a modified passenger jet carrying 10 miniature microfighters that could be launched and retrieved mid-flight. Simulations worked, economics didn't. The mini-jets lacked range and the system's costs skyrocketed. Boeing walked away, but the concept lingered in Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency archives, waiting for smaller, smarter aircraft to make it feasible. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency revenge. By the mid-2000s, unmanned flight had advanced enough to resurrect the idea. Enter Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency Project Gremlins, launched in 2014. The program aimed to turn existing transport planes like the C-130 Hercules into reusable drone carriers. Each Gremlin drone, officially the X-61A, measured 4 meters long, carried a 27-kilogram payload, and cost around $700,000. Cheaper than a single cruise missile, but capable of flying over 400 kilometers and completing multiple missions. After a string of near misses, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency finally succeeded in 2021. A C-130 extended a docking arm mid-air, locked onto a returning drone, and reeled it in like a fisherman catching his prize, all at 225 kilometers per hour. It was the world's first successful mid-air drone recovery, proving that reusable airborne platforms were no longer fantasy. With 4 Gremlins launched and recovered in under half an hour, the Air Force realized the tactical potential. The drones were cost-effective, expendable, and flexible, offering persistent surveillance or electronic warfare support without endangering pilots. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency estimated a 40% reduction in operational cost per sortie compared to conventional UAVs. In essence, the military had just reinvented the aircraft carrier, this time in the air. When drones become wingmen. The next step was pairing unmanned aircraft with human pilots. That concept became known as the Loyal Wingman Initiative. Instead of retrieving drones into a mothership, fighter jets would command them directly. Leading the charge were Boeing's MQ-28 Ghost Bat, developed with the Royal Australian Air Force, and Kratos' XQ-58 Valkyrie. The Valkyrie, a sleek delta-wing drone costing about $3 million, flies at Mach 0.85 with a range of 2,200 kilometers. Using a secure data link, it can scout ahead, jam enemy radar, or even carry precision bombs. In tests, F-35 pilots simultaneously controlled multiple Valkyries, essentially commanding robotic squadrons. Supporting them was Skyborg, an AI control system capable of processing sensor data and navigation information in real time. Skyborg isn't a pilot replacement. It's an assistant commander, the digital brain coordinating formations and managing threats faster than any human could. Longshot and the return of the Arsenal plane. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency wasn't finished. In 2021, it launched Project Longshot, partnering with General Atomics to build a drone that could fire air-to-air missiles mid-flight. About the size of a cruise missile, Longshot carries two AIM-120 Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missile, or AIM-9X Sidewinders, launching from bombers or fighters to strike enemies before pilots are even in range. Test flights began in 2023, marking the start of autonomous air combat. At the same time, the Arsenal plane concept made a comeback. The venerable B-52 bomber is being reimagined as a flying missile magazine, carrying over 31,000 kilograms of weapons and guided by stealth fighters from afar. Together, these projects reveal a clear strategy. The U.S. Air Force is building an airborne carrier fleet, a modular system where drones, bombers, and AI co-pilots unite for range, endurance, and overwhelming firepower. China's Sky Factories, the next challenger. While the U.S. perfected prototypes, China began mass production. At the 2024 Zhuhai Air Show, Beijing revealed the Zhuan, an unmanned mothership weighing about 17 tons, with a 20 to 25 meter wingspan and a 7,000 kilometer range. Operating 15 kilometers above ground, it can launch dozens of loitering munitions or surveillance drones at once. China's strategy is simple but ruthless. Win through numbers. If a few drones fall, the swarm still succeed, quantity over perfection. Leaked designs also hint at hypersonic carrier aircraft, flying Mach 5 and beyond, launching payloads from near space. The physics are brutal. Extreme heat, fragile scramjets, soaring costs. But the goal is clear: strike faster than defenses can react. The physics that fight back. Launching drones from high altitude saves up to 35% in fuel, but physics demands a price. More payload means bigger wings, stronger frames, and a much larger radar signature. In modern warfare, size isn't strength. It's visibility. Catching drones mid-air at hundreds of kilometers per hour also requires centimeter-level precision, where one gust can turn millions into scrap. That's why militaries now favor expendable swarms. Cheaper, faster, and harder to stop. A sky packed with small, smart drones can overwhelm defenses far better than any massive mothership. The economics of attrition. Every flying carrier project eventually hits the same trade-off: payload versus cost. A strike drone capable of carrying a few dozen kilograms of sensors or explosives is efficient, but scaling up to heavier weapons multiplies expense and complexity without equal payoff. Modern doctrine is shifting toward distributed jamming, sensor denial, and saturation tactics rather than massive singular strikes. Dozens of cheap drones can blind a radar or drain a missile defense network faster than one heavy bomber could ever manage. Defenders face their own nightmare math. Intercepting a $50,000 drone may require a $2 million missile. It's a losing equation. That cost asymmetry is why every major power is now investing in airborne drone swarms, stratospheric platforms, and AI coordination networks. Why the sky still matters. So why chase flying carriers at all? Because they solve problems that even space doesn't. Airborne or near-space platforms can deploy anywhere in hours, bypass diplomatic restrictions on foreign bases, and provide instant launch capability without rockets or runways. They represent freedom of movement and control over the invisible frontier between atmosphere and orbit. For nations without vast naval fleets or overseas installations, these carriers are the ultimate equalizer. Power projection without territory. In short, they turn the sky into a mobile launch pad. The new arms race above the clouds. The line between sci-fi and classified reality is fading fast. The U.S. Air Force's 2025 budget allocates over $1.2 billion to manned-unmanned teaming, and Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency Gremlins have already logged hundreds of flight hours. Meanwhile, China, Russia, and private firms like Gravitics are building near-space carriers and orbital platforms that look like something out of a video game, only louder and very real. This is the new frontier of warfare. Fleets that don't sail oceans but drift in the stratosphere, commanding swarms of intelligent, expendable drones. The next arms race isn't on land or sea, it's above the clouds. And that's the story. I'll see it from comic book fantasies to classified blueprints. The rise of real flying carriers, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe for more deep dives. Until then, keep your seatbelt fastened and your eyes on the sky. The future of warfare is flying right over us.